And welcome back to part 2 of the Mystic Knight no-hit run. Gear is the same as before, but we have one of every elemental sword. We have the Virge of Madness for physical mace. We have the Dominion Claw for magic damage. We have the Rusted and Silencing staffs. We have the Rusted and Silencing sword as well. Just fully kitted out. Malorian Cyclops Veil actually gives us a little bit of strength and magic. So does the Marshal's Bracers, gives us a bit of strength as well. Mostly we're just wearing them because we have no reason to not wear them. I wanted to wear the helmet because it's super cool. You can only wear it as a warrior or a Mystic Knight. So yeah, Vitari's robe we're wearing because the tusks around the collar kind of match. The only other piece of equipment that's interesting is our boots provide us stability, prevents winds from hampering our mobility. Double barbed nails for increased stagger and knockdown. Desiccation for avoiding drenched. Lots of stuff. Skills, Full Moon Slash, Cannon, Sigil. Secondary for the shields, we have Blessed Trance and Abyssal Anguish. We don't really use the Riposte. And then we have Magic, Strength, Augments, increased cast time. Things like that. So the Rotwood Depository, we have the ghosts. If you run all the way to this wall, the first ghost will come in here, but it'll immediately try and leave. So you're pretty safe there. Then you can move forward to hit either the second ghost, if it's coming, or the Silver Knight. My brain just clicked while looking at my augments. And I think it said we had Ferocity. I will put a note if we did not. But I think it said we had Ferocity, which increases our core abilities, which is going to be useful for Holy Focus Bolt. That would be the reason we would have that ability. Because we do use Holy Focus Bolt on Daimon. And there's a very specific reason for that. I don't like using Holy Focus Bolt for Daimon, but there's a very specific reason we used it for the no-hit run. And we'll talk about it when we get there. But ultimately it just helps us evade a certain attack that we can't really evade very well otherwise. Not as successfully, at least, or consistently. But yeah, Ferocity is for Focus Bolt, if you're wondering, because we're not. It would be also very valuable for the damage with Deflect, or if we were hitting things with our combos. But at the end of the day, we're not hitting things with our combos. We're not using Deflects. So, like, you might be thinking, why have Ferocity? Your core skills aren't really being utilized. It's for Holy Focus Bolt. Now, because we have this configuration, I know that we're going to have Ghosts and Vile Eyes in the next room. You'll see I pick up these Rift Crusters. That's because we were still on the hunt for better rings for our shield-only run, as well as gloves that have the increased damage of shield and magic shield abilities. And we get them pretty much the next run after this one. But, yeah. Here we switch to the Caladbolg because it's going to chain lightning to all 3 snakes that are in there. I don't want to get bit by them. Here I'm trying to see if the Elder Ogre triggers. If it triggers over here, it's kind of bittersweet. I don't really want to fight the Elder Ogre so much, but I definitely don't want to fight the Elder Ogre at the same time as the Living Armor is active, because there will be a Living Armor at the end of this run. Or the end of this room, rather. This is, I usually have not seen a Vile Eye come into this room. If you look at the Vile Eye, you see where, like, tentacles would grow on it if it was bigger. I always think that's really cool. It's not something you get to see very often because they're usually casting and like the animation, the light animations like covering them up. But you see like the little pock marks where like tentacles would grow if it was a gazer or a evil eye that we fight in the what is it called? The Everfall. Here I should switch to the Holy Sword. Curse Light, because we're going to have, if I move forward to where that first beam is, a ghost should spawn. Usually I should switch to Holy. Yeah, okay. What I should have done is actually set up my cannon first and then step forward so that I can step back and hit my cannon. But fortunately, because I know where the trigger is, I don't step too far forward. It makes it spawn, but it doesn't really aggro it. Full Moon Slash, there's for the iframes. I don't want to get hit by the ghost. Full Moon Slash is to give a lot of cannons downfield, or cannonballs rather downfield, because there is a point where the ghost is visible but not active as a hitbox, and if you time your swings wrong, you won't hit it when it becomes active, and it can actually just dash at you quickly, which is something I don't want. We are very close to getting hit there. Now, next we're going to have two ghosts, two phantoms is what they are, as well as a living armor. I want to kill both phantoms as soon as possible because I don't want them to dash through me. They won't spawn until you hit this corner right here. So I'm going to back up. They should kind of coast into that hallway I was in. So I'm just going to wait until they do. 1, 2. We got them both. Now we have a living armor alive. There is also a Elder Ogre that can spawn here. I don't necessarily wish for the Elder Ogre to spawn, but I do have to be aware that it can, because if it does, I need to retreat and plan accordingly. And there are a couple safe words in which, or safe words, safe. There are a couple safe places we can engage the Elder Ogre with. Oh my gosh, safe words, yeah, of course. Naturally. But who actually listens to this, comment safe word below. There we go, that's the Elder Ogre spawning. So we're gonna retreat. We're gonna leave our cannon there just because there's no reason not to. I say leave it. Obviously we don't have to do anything. But I didn't switch weapons immediately because I didn't think we had to. I switched to the Rusted because there's a chance I can get a Sopor off quickly. But the way that Knight showed up kind of blocked like the window that I had. It is a very tight window. It's super dangerous. This is actually probably my least favorite Elder Ogre to fight in the run because, well, actually no. This one's second least favorite. My least favorite would be the one at the bottom of the Fortress of Remembrance. I much prefer the one that spawns at the top of the Fortress of Remembrance. But what's nice about this one is if you lure it all the way this way, you can kind of get it in circumstances where it can't hit you. And you can like Torpor it easily and Sopor it. It just takes a little bit of patience to get it there and then a vast amount of caution. So like it can't reach us in this area, it can't jump high enough to make it all the way up here. So it kind of breaks. Sometimes it'll be closer and it'll actually try and like punch you. In this case, it's not. Again, this is one of those circumstances where we take advantage of how the game works. And if you guys have watched any of my videos, you know I like to take advantage of how the game operates. So yeah, we're just gonna set up a pair of cannons, send them all down range. Be happy about it. Safety first, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, now all we have left in this arena, or this room, is the living armor. We're going to go back to the Virge of Madness. The reason we go to the Virge of Madness is because it's got greater physical damage. Cannon has like a weird scaling equation for physical damage. It takes like weapon physical and then like base magic and weapon magic. And then it like takes all of those numbers and combines them. So like it does physical as well as magic damage individually. Sigil, I don't know how Sigil works as far as that goes, but we're using Sigil to activate our cannon anyway. I don't think Sigil will do damage to it by itself. It might, actually. I don't actually know. I'm not a Sigil aficionado. I know a good amount about this game. I don't know the way the numbers work for everything, because I haven't tested it, because it doesn't really matter to me. You can test it well enough to know whether something's effective, and that's the answer I need. I don't need to know the actual numbers. I know that that's exciting for a lot of people, and it helps make decisions, and I like that. I'm a big fan of making an Excel spreadsheet for a video game. I have done it many a time. But in this case, I don't really need to know. And without adding, or without installing add-ons and mods, I'm not going to know what the numbers are anyway. So I'm not worried about it. But all we're going to do is set this down. Cannons. And I said it does magic and physical damage separately, and that's true. It does both individually. However, the damage amounts are like split between what the stats on your weapon is. Like I said, it takes the physical as well as magic. But it combines those into a single number and then distributes it. It's not like... Because like this, for example, this mace doesn't have a magic stat. But it's the biggest number I have. And this guy's not weak to a specific element. He's just weak to not physical. At this stage, at least. So like having the mace out is actually my highest damage value I can have, because it just generates the largest number given the equation. Whatever the equation is. I didn't know it just deals the most damage, because this mace has like 3,000 damage plus on it. Whereas my swords are like, the highest sword I have is, I think, the Cursed Light, which is like 2,000 and 2,000. But again, it's like split equation, so it's not, it doesn't do the same. Because it's only like base physical, which is less than 2,000, because you gotta remember, or sorry, not base physical, weapon physical, which is probably closer to like 14, maybe 16. And then like all magic. So it's the numbers end up being really close to the mace, is what it is. So here we're using the mace because these guys weak to both physical and Holy. It deals slightly more damage to just have the Virge of Madness buffed with Holy than it is to use my Cursed Light. So that's why we used this setup. And if you remember us killing the Silver Knights that were in the Rotwood Depository at the beginning, you'll note that it took longer for us to kill them than it just did there. That's why we use the mace. Excuse me. This is the morning. I have had my morning coffee, as well as a lovely cinnamon roll that my wife made for me. But I haven't had much water, so my throat is kind of dry. So I apologize. There are going to be spiders here. This configuration can have Garm. Garm can be in the room the moment you walk in. They can also spawn the moment you kill the Silver and Gold Knights. But typically, if the Silver and Gold Knights are in the room at the beginning, they won't spawn in until you go down below, downstairs. There are a couple of sirens, 3 in fact, actually, so not a couple. I suppose I should have said a few. But we can hit them with Ingle before they even move. The last one generally will fly off beforehand. And we just got to get fancy with our aiming. Shed a little light on the situation, add some oil. But yeah, if we get a little fancy with our aiming, we can knock it down, and then we can follow up. Hell yeah. Now the only thing left in the room that we actually intend to fight are the Eliminators. But again, it is extremely likely that Garm spawn. So, I will probably... I'm surprised we still switched to the Almace here. I would expect to switch to the Caladbolg as a safety precaution. But maybe I intended to try and lure the Eliminators into this room before dealing with the Garm. Okay, there is one right here. So that probably is possible. I don't want to hit the Prisoner Gore Cyclops. I don't have a need to fight them. I'm surprised Garm didn't spawn there, so that's kind of cool. I do not have a need to fight the Prisoner Gore Cyclops. So I'm going to try and angle my shots so that the Gore Cyclops is not in the, like, targeting area. We already hit it. Unfortunate. What that means is I can't stand right there because he will hit me through the wall if I stand over there. So we just move back. I want to kill the Eliminators. It doesn't truly matter whether I kill the Eliminators first or not, because they will die eventually, even if I kill them second. But it's what I was working on. Fortunately, these guys are also weak to ice. Now, I don't know if I use Focus Pulse to try and remove the helmet. Sometimes I do that, sometimes I don't. It doesn't quite matter so much, but it does speed up the process if I remove the helmet. Because removing the helmet means that every time I hit these cannonballs into the helmet, oh, we knocked it off with the cannon, okay. Every time I hit the cannonballs on his face, it'll actually deal damage, whereas if I don't knock the helmet off, they'll get deflected by his armor, the helmet, which is a little bit tilting. So we'll just do this. As you see, he's quite weak to ice damage, so we don't really have much trouble dealing with him. I'm surprised that guy didn't run free. Oh, there he is. Now he's free. Of course. I don't really want to fight both of these guys at the same time. We did get the second helmet off, though, which is fantastic. I don't think I noticed that when I was doing the run initially. Because I think I remember thinking about whether I should try and get the helmet off and switch to focus bolts. But I was too busy focusing on the guy in front of me. There's certain ways they can move that can hit you when you're up on this balcony, and I don't want that to happen, so I was probably focusing on the other one. But obviously, this is not a stressful situation, me doing overview, or voiceovers. So I'm not feeling the stress and tension directly. But like, obviously while we're doing these live, like, these are very tense situations. Not super tense in comparison to other parts of the run, but like, these guys can actually hit you when you're up here. There's a couple things they can do. They can throw things. That grab can hit me sometimes if I'm too close. Sometimes they can swing the cudgel, and the cudgel will hit you through the ground. Like, that was a little bit scary. Like, that could have easily hit me. It didn't, because I can see my health didn't move. I don't have any defensive augments on, so it's not like it hit me and did 0 damage. Not that there is an augment that's going to do that at full health. At low health, we could have had Sanctuary on, which is going to reduce that a lot to probably 1 tick of damage, but not at full health. And we don't have it on anyway. We've almost killed that Eliminator down there. Alright, 1 is dead. Love the triumphant music. These Prisoner Gore Cyclops have their own theme, by the way. I don't know why it turned off after we killed the first one, but not the second one. But, you know, whatever. I always kind of forget they have their own theme, because I try not to aggro them very often. The way I do these runs is if I don't aggro things, I won't fight them. Like, those guys are chained up. If I don't unchain them, I'll keep them there. But if they become unchained, I can't run past either. The reason I hit the balcony edge right there is because I figured that the Garm would spawn. If I get them to spawn while I'm up here, I can be a little bit more effective. So that's unfortunate that it's hitting that way. I don't want it to, but I can't really control that. Again, a lot of times cannon will target the furthest thing from you. And because of that, it'll be a little bit goofy. I don't want this guy right here, but he is caught on that, like, torch. So long as I manage to kill him without falling off, we should be good. His buddy jumped off the way we typically would see them jump, which was convenient. He probably only walked close to us because we were not standing on the ledge up here earlier. We were standing down on the ground. But I can't really confirm that that's the reason. Because now this guy's doing it, we haven't been on the ledge. These guys are being very frustrating. One, they're moving in kind of odd ways. Two, that one that's on the far right keeps being the target of our cannons. And that's not ideal because one, he's too far for us to reach. And two, like, there are other targets that we could potentially hit that it's ignoring. But we'll make do with what we have. One down. 2 to go. We staggered that guy while he was falling. He fell underneath the balcony, which is a little bit awkward because we can't hit him when he's directly below the balcony. But that did demonstrate how easy it is to stagger them with the lightning damage. As long as you have 2 cannons active. You can also do light attack, full moon slash. But again, it's more stamina intensive than just constantly making cannons. Like, I've made how many cannons now, and my stamina is still pretty much full. It's very efficient, stamina-wise. And when you only have, it's like 3,500 stamina, we want the added efficiency. I don't know where the other one is. It's probably decided to make a snack in the hallway. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit that guy, get him moving. Now that we can do that, now he's not going to mess with our cannons as much. We can set up the way we want. And somehow he jogged his buddy's memory to demonstrate that, hey, you can run around. So that's nice. We don't have to hunt that guy down. Hopefully we won't have to hunt the third one down. And we'll maintain the loop. Doesn't always happen. There it is. There we go. It's all 3. Next, we should switch to the Dominion Claw, because the last enemies we're going to have in this room are leapworms down by the exit. So, we'll hustle over there. We will go that way. We will Holy Affinity, or not Holy Affinity, Blessed Trance. Put the Darude Sandstorm up. The Blessed Trance music. And we will kind of walk slowly so that only 1 or 2 spawn at a time. Holy Focus Bolt takes a little bit of time to come out and hit them. So it's not as good as I would like. That was well timed. So basically we drop the Holy Focus Bolt and kind of like run away. Depends on how close we are to the cast, because you can cast it slightly early like I am, and it's like kind of perfectly on time. But if you wait until they're like on screen to release the Blessed Trance, you're actually like standing still up until right when they're about to jump. It's a little bit scary intense. I don't think we lost a run to these guys at all, but that doesn't make it less concerning, right? That should have been all. What should happen here is I run past. Yeah. If they fall after I run past, we can just Holy Focus Bolt them. Realistically, it'd be more efficient for me to just sprint past them and then turn around and Holy Focus Bolt them up the stairs. But, I don't know. I'm silly. So because we still have Holy Affinity or whatever, Holy Buff, we can just Focus Bolt the spiders over here. It's very consistent. If I didn't, what I would do is I would have the... I would switch to the Caladbolg again. We'd wait till they spew, and then we'd jump across and hit them with Lightning. Here, I'm going to buff again with Blessed Trance, because if we get the white configuration, I want to kill it as quick as possible, which we did. The reason I want to kill it as quick as possible is if it floats into the ceiling, it can prevent itself from getting hit by our abilities. It's really annoying. It just makes it more frustrating. What's more is if it'll also summon enemies. There are 10 bats here, so I need to just count 3, 4, 5, and 6. After the first 6, we can move until we can see the remaining 4. which I just used the one on the left here as our anchor point. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very easy to find with a staff, because it puts the little target there. But you can also find them all with a bow. They are difficult to see. I think on my Ranger no-hit run, if you look at the chapters, there's one called Bats. And it'll, I put circles on top of them all, so you can use that as a guide if you're trying to shoot them all before. If you're trying to do your own no-hit run. Here we're going to have living armor because we had the white up top, so we're going to switch to the Virge of Madness. This is, we use a kind of tried and true method that we use for all of our runs against these guys. I am very good at perfect blocking these guys, so it wouldn't be too much of a hardship to actually use Lightning Riposte to do it. But again, safety first, right? If I get an imperfect block off, it counts. I don't want that. What we do is we set our trap. And we want to stand a little bit past our trap. That way he just walks through it instead of like trying to attack through it. If he's attacking through it, he might block it. But this way, he won't. This is an example of cannon being dumb. It is trying to hit that living armor that's way over there, that's well beyond our range. Our range basically ends at where the bottom of this ramp is, just slightly beyond. This guy's being very generous, or ignorant, one of the two. Oblivious, I guess, would be a better word, not ignorant. But he is that. I'm a little bit annoyed that those did a complete 180. Because that means he moved long before I was ready. And because he moved before I was ready, I didn't get a good setup off. So he was able to he was able to move before I was able to. And that means he walked into our cannon while we were still in it, or our sigil while we were still in it, so he had his shield prepared to block. Now here I see he's got 4 health bars and like a quarter missing. When it's 4.5, his armor rends. When his armor rends, he gets staggered. So what you'll see me do here is I will prep the cannon facing him so that it hits him, and then I'm gonna like wail on these cannons for a little bit because I know I'm gonna get like 3-4 hits in before he even starts moving my direction. So yeah, we got 2 full health bars down with that combo, and then the cannon removed a third one pretty much. Actually, it did remove a 3rd health bar, so that's about where we were at, right? So that's just knowing the break point. The armor completely breaks at half of his health missing. He has 9 health bars, so 4.5. There's 8 dots, but you gotta remember, once the last dots disappear, there's another health bar going. So at half health is when he does it. I am uncertain as to what we did there. I saw my mouse moving, but I don't know what we would move my mouse for. I don't know. Maybe my dog hopped onto my chair and pushed the mouse. It does that. I didn't alt-tab, because if I alt-tab, it kind of breaks the video a little bit. Alright, 1 down. There are going to be 2 Vile Eyes per living armor, and they are on their respective sides. So it makes it very easy. I want to kill the Vile Eyes before dealing with the other one, just because if for whatever reason these guys come around and flank us, I'm going to be a sad boy. I am a sad boy because we got hit by that. That's okay. That's just the water being too deep. So here, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put sigils down. That first sigil might not even work, but we'll see. Sometimes if a sigil's at a weird angle like that, it'll just kind of mess up. And you're like, really? Really, game? But we'll hit these guys a little bit, and we'll just leave. Unfortunately, that location, because the Vile Eyes exist, a lot of those cannonballs go towards the Vile Eyes, which is not of great benefit. So, there is that. There's one Vile Eye. If we were fast enough, we could have actually set the cannon up and hit that one, but we weren't, so we'll play it safe. We'll just step out. You can perfect block those. You can perfect block Ingle. You can perfect block Combustion even. Combustion's difficult because it hits multiple times. In more than 2. Ingle can hit multiple times. You can actually, if you perfect block an Ingle, the moment like your hand starts moving away from your shield after the riposte part, you can hit the block a button again and you'll perfect block it again, so you can get 2 ripostes off on a single Ingle. Single Ingle. I don't remember if it does the same thing for Frigger. It might. Combustion though will do the same thing, but it'll continue after that, and it's really hard to time all of them. So I generally don't. We only did one setup there because he was moving kind of close to us. What's nice is this is the only target now, so all of our cannons will either hit our other cannon, which isn't terrible, because they'll probably go towards him after that, or they'll track him. I don't want to move too far forward, down either side, the left or right, I mean, of the halls, because an Elder Ogre can still spawn in this area, and I don't really want to get caught by it. Okay, so that answers the question as to whether Sigil does damage. I feel like it did, but I couldn't really remember. I don't know how the equation for Sigil works. Alright, that's an armor break. The game. I probably said that when we were doing it live. We do stream these runs. We stream all of our runs. I stream Monday through Friday at 10:30 Eastern Time, AM. Stream for about 6 hours every day, every weekday. We have a good time. You guys should definitely stop in. There was our Elder Ogre spawn. Same as when we did this in the Gutter of Misery. If we walk far enough back, it can de-aggro and it'll start munching. If we get that to happen, we can set up cannons effectively and kill it before it really can do stuff. The problem with this configuration, or this room specifically, is where it sets up that snack is a little bit awkward sometimes. And it'll be inconsistent as to whether we can get it off or not. In this case, it looks like it's starting its snack. Yep. So we can send one this way, walk around it so that we're in position. And we just start wailing. There we go. So your goal when you're doing that is to get it below 4 health bars remaining. The reason you want to get it below 4 health bars remaining is because at 4 health bars remaining is when it enrages. So if you can get it below 4 health bars remaining, when it enrages, it stands still for about, I don't know, maybe 3 seconds. So you have 3 seconds to kill it, or 3 seconds to run away and set up a position where you can deal with things a little bit nicer. In that case, we kill it. If you let it start a snack like that, you can often get preemption bonus damage for a very long time. And so we take advantage. Sparyard to Scant Mercy. This room is a bit of a scary room. If we have 2 fire drakes, it's very easy. We just we use the Almace, we set up cannons, we just constantly knock them down. We have to manipulate where they fall a little bit by moving our person around a little bit until we get them both on the same side of the balcony, because the first one likes to go to the behind us. But once we set up a good position, it's very easy. If we get Frost Dragon or 2 Frost Dragons or 1 Frost Dragon and 1 Fire Drake, Frost Worm rather, and Fire Drake, things become a management battle. We have to do 2 things. We have to ensure that the Frostworm is silenced perpetually. We have to ensure that the Fire Drake is knocked down perpetually. You'll see I buffed with Holy. The reason for that is the easiest way to silence the Drake is to hit it with Holy. Focus Bolt with the Golden Claw. And then the easiest way to keep our Fire Drake knocked down is to hit it with Focus Bolt with Dominion Claw. Doing so will knock it down very easily. You'll see I'm going to walk very close to this guy before knocking him down. The reason for that is if I knocked him down where he was before, he would land on the balcony with me. I do not want that to happen, because what he'll do is he'll charge at me. And it's very difficult to not get hit when he's in that position. Now, once we have them both knocked down and silenced, respectively, our next goal is actually going to be to kill the Frostworm. The reason for that is the Frostworm has a higher chance to hit us than the Fire Drake does. The Fire Drake can breathe at us when he flies into the air, and that's about it. The Frostworm, if we don't have it silenced or dead, can cast at us. That was us walking to the edge. That wasn't a stagger. I keep switching to the Rusted Claw, or Rusted Staff. That is largely irrelevant. You don't need to do that. It's kind of silly that I keep doing that now that I'm looking at the video. We don't need this guy Torpor at all. It saves it helps us keep him knocked down for a little bit extra time, but it's not enough of a time to be that critical. If you have something already debilitated, you can debilitate it again. You just have to hit it more. It kind of like refreshes the duration. Generally, if I'm trying to apply silence to this guy, I will actually use 2 focus bolts with the Golden Claw to ensure it, because sometimes 1 doesn't do it, but I guess I was lazy there. You'll see that so he landed up top. So what we're going to do is we're going to run around this area. Because this balcony is curved, when he walks forward, he'll walk off of the balcony. See? 1, 2. Now he's flying. And that actually worked out very much in our favor, because now he's on this side of the balcony. I need to space him a little bit so that when he falls this time, he doesn't land up here, which we did. And now he's on the correct side. So that's actually, while awkward, exactly what we want. We want him on that side. I only casted a regular base combustion because I knew that this other dragon was going to fly into the air. I want him knocked down. Now I'll probably cast another combustion. I don't know why I casted a Holy Focus Bolt there. I guess because I was thinking I need a Blessed Trance. You have to remember, Blessed Trance does not last nearly as long as Holy Affinity. It's like 45 seconds tops. It's very quick. I don't know if it's actually 45 seconds. It feels about that long. It's probably a minute. I don't really know. If you know, comment down below, I guess. Let me know. That way I can know for future runs. But I don't actually know. Because of that, you'll see I will more or less constantly buff the Holy Affinity, even when I still have it, because I don't want it to go away. Losing Holy Affinity makes this fight 10 times harder, because now I have to cast Holy Affinity while potentially the first dragon's flying, or the Fire Drake is flying, potentially while the Frostworm isn't silenced anymore, which means I have to dodge a lot more. I have to be scared. We lost a run at one point. We got this far into the run without getting hit. We lost 2 runs in this room. One was a very cheesy hit where we had knocked down the Fire Drake and he started flying and his mouth just passed us and we took 1 tick of aura damage. That was cheesy. But we lost another one because we ran out of our holy buff and had to rebuff. And it was the same time that the Fire Drake flew into the air. Actually, no, that was a double Frost Drake configuration, I want to say. But one of the dragons had flown into the air, and the other one became unsilenced, like while we were trying to rebuff. And because of that, we had to dodge spellcasts at the same time as a breath from a dragon, and we ended up getting hit because we put ourselves in a corner where we couldn't evade anymore. Now, normally I would love to follow up that hit with a Combustion, just a base Combustion, but because I have the second dragon, I don't really get to take advantage of that. In a double Frost Drake scenario, if I had managed to kill 1 Frost Drake, then I can take advantage of that. But in this scenario, I don't really get to. And you'll see I'm going to continue to be overly cautious. Perhaps not overly cautious, extremely cautious, I guess. And silence the already silenced dragon. Because I know it will renew. Even if it doesn't make the sound, even if it doesn't, like, show me, it will renew so long as I hit it enough times. And so we use 2 focus bolts to make sure that it remains silenced. You can wait until silence falls off to reapply it. That's going to be the best indicator that you have applied it and that you know that there's going to be a duration that lasts however long it lasts. I don't know. But you can always also just apply it early. There's very little harm in applying it early. When it's on the ground, and we have the time, obviously, we apply high Combustion. It deals more damage than base Combustion. I was to say, here we should probably buff, and then we'll probably switch stabs after we knock the Fire Drake down again. So that we can hold. Oh, no, we're going to do it now. I was going to say so we could silence again. Yeah, see, there we ran out of the silence, so that was actually perfect timing. And that's why we maintained that buff. Because it almost could have gotten the cast off. Now, we prevented that by simply... His silence wore off like right at the end of one cast, but before the next one came through, so we actually got the cast off in time. But like, it was a very near thing. Basically, my pattern here is to do 1 Combustion, and then next time you have a window, 1 Blessed Trance. Actually, I guess a more accurate combination would be Blessed Trance, Silence in 1 window, and then Combustion in the next. And then the next window, Blessed Trance again. So like this one, we do the last time we did a Silence, right? This one we're doing a Combustion. Next time we'll Blessed Trance, probably. Yep. Now I'll probably switch stabs. Yep. We'll silence in this window. And this isn't an absolutely strict pattern that I maintain. It kind of depends on what happens. Obviously, if the Frostworm falls over, I might not choose to cast Silence on it. I'll probably just rebuff instead. You know, things like that. I don't know what that was. I remember that happening while we were playing. That wasn't my recording. That was actually the game wigging out. I apologize for that. We were kind of like, what was up? Alright, now that the Frostworm's dead, we can switch to the Almace. and we can deal damage to this guy. Now, you'll see the cannons are trying to go for his tail, and they don't really do, one, a lot of damage if they do hit, and two, a number of them won't even reach. So what we'll see is I will try and angle as many cannons as I can to the left so that they target the wings over the tail. It's hard to do because this balcony's a little bit curved. I don't have the same angle that I can make. But it's still okay. You'll notice that the times we do the most damage is when it's still on the ground and standing up but hasn't taken wing yet. Because our cannons can hit the wings very consistently then, and for whatever reason it won't target the tail. Unfortunately, it also seems to be the timing at which we have to make our new cannon. If I had been thinking about it at the time, which very clearly I wasn't, but if I had been thinking about it at the time, I would have waited until it was like in the air to make our new cannon, or right when it had fallen, I would have made the cannon. Here we switched to focus bolt so that we can get the hit on the heart. It's just the easiest way. We could jump down there and melee it, but it's a little bit... The timing isn't great. That's a lot of motion we'd have to do in a short amount of time to get the heart hit before he stands up. And if he's standing up, we can take damage from the fire aura around its heart or its mouth, which is considerably risky for a no-hit run. I love fighting those guys on the ground. It's a lot of fun, the perfect block and stuff like that. As frustrating as this room is for a shield-only run, it was a lot of fun, even though we died a lot. Yeah, our shield-only run was not like a deathless run by any means. I like to run past death in circumstances where we can, because he doesn't like move around as much. And because he won't move around as much, you can basically set up your cannon kind of far away, and he has a lot more motion he has to do before he can start his lantern. So it just gives you a little bit more time to hit him. Whereas if I walked backwards, one, I can run into a wall. We have the nice configuration, that's nice. But one, I could walk into a wall, and then two, he'll slide forward. But he doesn't really slide backwards as much, so long as you like sprint past him. Once you get past him, or even perpendicular to him, he will kind of hesitate on his rotation, so it's kind of easy to get around. So this room, Fallen City, we have the nice configuration. The reason it's the nice configuration is there are 1, fewer enemies, but 2, there are fewer dragons. This configuration has 3 living armor and 3 eliminators. The other configuration has 3 living armor and 8 eliminators. And then it has 1 Thunder Wyvern in this configuration, whereas the other one has 2 base version Wyverns, which are much easier to kill. And in fact, we use the staff to kill those guys a lot, just because they take significantly more damage than the stouter Thunder Wyvern, Bitterblack variant. But in addition to that, a Curse Dragon spawns in the other configuration, whereas this one can have Death spawn. Death is far from a scary enemy. Curse Dragon isn't the most scary enemy. In fact, I wouldn't even put it as that scary of a dragon. But like, it still often spawns before we've killed everything else, and it makes it a bit just like kind of frustrating and tedious to deal with. Because things can go wrong. Nothing really goes wrong so much with this configuration, unless I absolutely misplay. Cool. So next we're going to aggro that dragon. We still have 1 living armor left, but we can't aggro it really consistently without getting the attention of this dragon. So what we'll do is we'll just hit this dragon first. And the way we do that is we run over here. We hop on this balcony, and we'll knock it down. You'll see that I'm going to use Full Moon Slash, rather, early, because knocking this guy down is much trickier than just like we did in the Dusk Moon Tower. It's harder to knock him down for physical damage than for example, the Fire Drake was with the Almace. So I'm going to basically constantly need 2 cannons active, and once I have the 2 cannons active, you know, we'll just light attack it. But I think it's called Dire Onslaught is the name of that combo. I might be wrong. That might be the other combo. That might be this combo. I don't know. I don't remember which one's which. Doesn't really matter to me. But yeah, we'll just keep hitting him. You'll see that when he falls to the ground, I'm angling my camera this way so that the targets hit the wings. The wings are going to do considerably more damage. There, I Full Moon Slash for the iframes because I wanted the iframes more. Okay, he's staying on the ground, which means I need to silence him. So you'll see I'll switch to the Golden Rapier. We'll cannon him. There's 2 things that are nice about this spot. So here he can attempt, rather, to cast at me. He did not, but he'll also often be above this chasm if I'm all the way back there, which I am. And then when we knock him down, he dies. Just like that. So it speeds up the process. Realistically, we don't need it to do that. What we could do is we could just keep wailing on it the way we were, and it will die. And then generally what we'll do is just hop down there and hit him with the mace for the last hit because it's so close. But it's not crazy. And this is why it's hard to avoid that dragon, by the way. So we have to come here. The dragon would literally be in the courtyard behind us. There's like an alley between us and that courtyard, and that's it. It's very hard to get here without the other dragon being like, hey, what are you doing? So we just do this guy later. It's fine. That's it for the living armors. Now we're just going to have the 3 eliminators that are at the end, as well as the potential for death to spawn. I don't believe it will, but it does exist. The potential does exist, at least. We're going to switch to the Almace. Almace for freezing. It's just super good. We're going to make a couple sigils. The sigils are for safety. I use this corpse as my marker as far as like when I'm close enough to hit them with cannon. If I make my cannons beyond that corpse, like closer to the buildings, I mean, very often will they just not reach these guys. So I usually just use the corpse. If I make them on the corpse or just past, it'll hit. I'm going to angle my cannon to the outside there to ensure that I kill one of them. I can split 2 cannonballs between 2 eliminators, and it's okay. We're gonna run because I didn't manage my cannons very well. I should have made the second one while they were frozen, or made another cannon while they were frozen, but we didn't do that, and so they were going away, and I wasn't going to be able to perpetually freeze them. Usually you can just stay there, make another cannon like partway through, and you can perpetually freeze them. But we hit the lead eliminator a little bit earlier than I would generally like, which is whatever. So they were aggroed a little bit faster, but on top of that, again, we didn't manage when they froze very well. But as I demonstrated, you can just retreat to safety up here and cannon them. These guys are also very fun to perfect block and kill that way. Not very difficult either if you're used to it. But, you know, it's the way we do it. And we are coming up to the climax here. Daimon fight. You see I have the Rusted Staff. As I said before, buffs disappear for Mystic Knight when you cast them before a cutscene or entering a new room. However, enchantments on weapons persist, so I can cast Holy Pact, or Blessed Pact, Blessed Trance, whatever. I can cast Blessed Trance right now. It'll actually persist. If I had cast Thunder Riposte or Abyssal Anguish, they would disappear with this cutscene coming up. You can also channel a full Holy Focus Bolt before entering the room, and it'll stay. Now, you also need to make sure that you don't release it too early, because at the end of the cutscene, there's like a couple seconds where if you haven't moved yet and you release the button, it'll just disappear. Your focus bolt won't go off, but if you wait until you're allowed to take a step and then release it, it'll shoot without having to channel it the whole time. So the reason we're starting with the staff is because, as I mentioned before, it's the easiest way to deal with silence. Yep, see? Focus bolt, we didn't have to charge it. Otherwise, it takes like a full second and a half or so. Now it's Torpor. But yeah, it's the easiest way to apply Torpor, and he is a quick boy. Now, we're going to continue to use Holy Focus Bolts because he's kind of a little too dangerous in Phase 1 for us to use the cannon. He's just too fast. He doesn't give us enough time to set it up very well. So what we're doing is going to hit him until he does Soul Vortex, which is at 2.5 health bars. He's allowed to. At 3 health bars, he will Soul Vortex. I'm going to switch back to the Rusted Staff. I'm going to rebuff with Holy, because I want to give myself maximum uptime. We're going to Holy Focus Bolt him with a stagger, and also apply Torpor, which we did. And we're going to switch back to the Dominion Claw, again, because we need to stagger him. We don't really stagger him super well with our sword or our mace from these. This one should do it. So I'm switching. We're going to go to the mace. We're going to make 2 cannons. And then we're going to wail on him. Because the cannons do a good amount of damage. The problem is we just don't get a lot of opportunity to actually effectively use them because of how squirrely he is in Phase 1. And that's Phase 1. Phase 2, we're going to start by using the sword or the cannon. We use sorry, not the sword or the cannon, the sword or the mace with the cannon. The mace while we have the buff, the holy buff, the sword once we lose the holy buff so that we can maintain the holy buff. The damage is only slightly different, but the mace with the holy buff is better. But anyway, we'll just use the cannon until we get him to about 4 health bars missing. Once he's missing, oh, we're gonna switch immediately, okay. Once he's missing 4 health bars of health, he's allowed to start casting Grand Magics. The one we're afraid of the most is Seism. The reason for that is the stagger, when he casts Seism, the stagger that occurs is, if I get caught in the stagger, I count that as a hit. And because I count that as a hit, I need to evade it. The easiest way to evade the stagger is to be airborne when he casts Seism. The problem is, when we're using the sword, our jump is not very long. We don't have a lot of frames in the air. We don't have nearly as many frames in the air. So what we do, once we get to that point, is we actually are unfortunately going to have to switch to the staff. And it's exclusively to deal with Seism. If Seism wasn't on the table, if Seism wasn't in the deck, we would just keep with the sword and keep doing this. Because I actually like fighting him this way. But because it's just too difficult to evade Seism every time, because he can cast it at 2 different cast times, so it's not a matter of me memorizing the timing, because there's 2 different timings. He can either do the long cast or the quick cast. And I don't know which one he's doing. So I have to get either exceptionally lucky, or I have to basically ensure that I can't get hit by it. And the way we do that is simply switching to the staff, using using Blessed Trance rather, and just evading it altogether by jumping into the air and levitating. Levitating is why we do it. Levitate avoids it very nicely. Double jump evades it also exceptionally nicely because so many frames you're in the air. Warrior is okay because when you swing your sword as a warrior, you kind of get like a little bit of ups, and the ups help. Using a sword, however, you get like a tiny amount of ups, but it's significantly less than the already kind of short warrior. Warrior's not good, mind you. It's just better than the fighter or the Mystic Knight with the sword. Or assassin, I guess, with the sword. There, I'm just doing extra damage because I know he's about to Soul Vortex. He was approaching 3 health bars missing. Same rule applies as phase 1. 2.5 health bars, he can start using Soul Vortex. At 3 health bars missing, he will. So, I know this to be a fact. I released that buff there because I wanted to just get like a cheeky hit in before he starts this move. I'm gonna rebuff to a full duration now that he's doing it. Because I have pretty much unlimited time, right? Like right here, there's nothing preventing me from getting this cast off. Because this move lasts long enough for me to hit him, right? Getting the staggers there is very convenient. We've already got him down to 4 and like a 3/4 health bar missing. Okay. I was hoping to get one more cheeky hit in before that happens, but that's fine. Make cannons. He's missing 5 health bars now. That means when he stands up, he can cast Seism. At 4 health bars missing is when he can cast Seism in phase 2. In phase 1, it's like 4 health bars remaining or something like that. It's much later. I don't actually know the trigger for phase 1, simply because I usually deal a lot more damage in phase 1 than phase 2 for hits. So after I knock him down the first time, he's pretty much always guaranteed to be in that range. But yeah, in this point, he can cast it. Dodging these, you can perfect block both the regular arm swipe and the double arm swipe. Here's the Seism. That's why we use Levitate. Our lantern oil seems to have run out. I wonder if I put more oil in it. Yes, I did. I couldn't remember if I did. I just wasn't sure if I noticed it while we were live, is the thing. Because this is a stressful fight. Daimon can hit us. It's possible. But yeah, to avoid the arm swipes, you can either perfect block them, or you can just run backwards. That's what I usually opt for. If you're going to choose the run backwards, you need to run back forwards into range again afterwards. Otherwise, you're going to put yourself in a corner where you've run all the way to the back wall and you're stuck. You also want to ensure that you know where you're standing and where you can be, because you don't want to put yourself in a circumstance where you can't run further backwards. Like, being on a side like this is not what I want. So you'll see I'll probably move closer to the middle. That way I can run backwards. I'm close to the edge, so what'll probably happen is I'll probably start migrating to the other side of him so that I have more room. And you do that by getting a little bit closer every time so that you can do it. I guess I'm okay with this range. Now, if you're going to perfect block these, the timing for like the single arm slash is, you can kind of look at when the slash is coming and it's fine, typically. There I just do one buff. Olide is going to come down on top of me. So I want a buff so I can do something, but I don't need it to be massively long at any given point. This move's very easy. He is going to target. He's going to aim in front of you. Here I opted to like run really far away, which is not usually what I do. If you get close to him, not like right in his face, but if you get close to him, he will pick either left or right. And then if he does it a second time like he's doing now, he'll go the opposite direction. But if you stand right in front of him, he will look at you until he's about to breathe, and then he'll either turn left or he will turn right. And it gives you a window that you can just move. You just go the opposite way. I usually go the opposite way and move past him, like behind him, because it's guaranteed. It also gives you time to buff if you're trying to buff, or prep a cannon if you're going to do that, or like prep an attack if you're a different location, obviously. As I was saying before about perfect blocking the arm swipe, so the double arm swipe is very early when you have to perfect block. It's easier to look at when his physical Daimon's arms are doing their swing, and when you see them do their swing, that's generally when I kind of perfect block. I don't necessarily look at it because I kind of know the timing but very well now for it, but you can perfect block it. If you are not great at perfect blocking, I would recommend try perfect blocking his single arm swipes, then he does the two arm swipe, either full moon slash to iframe them, or just run away if you can't, or if you're using a staff or something like that. Just because it's a little bit safer. There are a number of times where we took a double arm slash to the face and died while we were doing these run attempts. It never happened on a run where we got to Daimon without getting hit. I don't think Daimon ever ruined a run for us, but he did hit us a lot. So, yeah, we weren't super. This wasn't the part of the run where I was like super confident that there's no way he hits us, I guess is what I'm saying. Daimon always can ruin my day. He's been casting so many random spells that we actually lost his health bar, if you saw that. We hadn't hit him in so long because we just hadn't had the opportunity. He's gonna Soul Vortex here. Excuse me. Allergy season, I apologize if you guys heard that. Allergy season is year-round for me, so... And there we go. All in all, a pretty okay fight. I prefer to fight him with the sword and shield. Cannon, if you do a riposte into the cannon, it'll actually affect your cannon. I like to use the flame riposte. A lot of people like to use the holy one because it sends a million cannonballs downrange. The problem is there can only be so many cannonballs active at a time, so like most of them just don't hit. Whereas if you use the flame riposte, one, if you just riposte and you don't have a cannon set up, they will hit Daimon and deal good damage. And two, if you do have a cannon set up, it'll hit the cannon and it'll send as many balls down range as Holy Riposte does without the fact that, or it'll, the same number of cannonballs will land as the Holy Riposte will allow to land, just because so many are despawned. But with that, I want to thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate it. We stream Monday through Friday, 10:30 Eastern Time, AM. If you want to come check us out over at twitch.tv/localticobrohe. We have a good time there. But I hope everybody has a great rest of your day. Thanks for watching. Cheers.